all. Sing. When we see Jesus, life's trials will seem so small. When we see Christ, one glimpse of his dear face, all sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ. I woke up thinking about that song, and so I looked up the verses. This verse, I love this verse. At times the sky seems dark, with not a ray of light. We're tossed and driven on, no human help in sight. But there is one in heaven who knows our deepest care. Let Jesus solve your problems. Just go to him in prayer. Sing, it will be worth it all when we see Jesus. Life's trials will seem so small. Boy, I lowered it, didn't I? When we see Christ, just one glimpse of his dear face. Can you imagine? All sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ. Isn't that a great song? That was one I wish I'd written. Hey, I've got coffee, y'all, because I didn't realize 2 o'clock is when I'm usually doing my nap on Sundays. There'll be no more Tuesday Mark Lowry Live. Sunday Mark Lowry Lives at 2 o'clock. Lord, I had to get up. I was almost in that REM sleep. And then I realized, I got to wake up. So I got me a double Nespresso. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Did you go to virtual church? I heard my pastor, Brother Brett Jones. He did a very good job. And I love my church. And I hope you're having a good Sunday. All right, today is going to be different. We're not going to sing a lot, and so that may tick a lot of you off, but, well, I'm sorry. I have a very special guest. In fact, I have 2 very special guests. My first special guest will be Andy Andrews, who we're going to Skype, and he's going to read to us from one of his books. I said, pick one that helps us get through a pandemic, and he can do it. He is an encourager. And he's a national New York Times best-selling author. We don't just have riffraff on Mark Lowry Live. We have authors that have sold a lot of books. And Andy Andrews is one of them. Hello, everybody coming in. Jan McCroskey, Louise Stevens, Mary Lou Cowan, Jed Zemer, Gina Green. Hello, Ella Walters, Dan Weber, Lynn King, Brenda Howard, Michelle Bertu. How is my sister? Thank you for asking. Missy is doing very well. She's still in the hospital. She had a UTI. And you ladies know that those aren't very comfortable. And so bless her heart, the doctor said they're going to keep her for another day or 2. So she's okay. She doesn't have the virus. Thank you, Lord. And if we can get her out of the hospital before she catches it, but bless her heart. She's been a diabetic since she was 4. And so she's got that. And her daughter, Caitlin, also has diabetes. And they're the only 2 in our family that we know of that has it. But Missy has done very well with hers because, when she was 4 and she got diabetes, she didn't have a very long life expectancy. but she has well outrun her life expectancy. Because I think it was 25 back then when she was 4. And now she's 52, right? She's 9 years younger than me. I'm 61. She's 52. And so she takes good care of herself. So she must have something must have just, I don't know how you get those things. But anyway, we're going to Skype, brother. Thank you all for tuning in. Good night, Jana Reeves, Deborah Whitesell. Hi, Ruth Whitaker, Cindy Monroe on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, share it. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. So whenever I do go live, you'll know about it. And let's see, if you're on Facebook, please share on your page. Share this to your page so your friends can hear Andy Andrews. And my second guest today, I forgot to tell you, is Lily Knowles. Do you remember Lily Knowles? She's one of the, well, now she would be one of the oldest homecoming singers who are still alive. You know, when you watch those Gaither videos, it's just dead, 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 me, dead, dead, dead. Bill Gaither, almost dead. I told Bill if he didn't hurry up, Vestal's going to think he didn't make it. Old joke. Anyway, so Lily Knowles, I interviewed her yesterday. She's out in California. She'll be 82 in a few days and has the joy of the Lord all over her. She also is single, has never married, and is alone during this pandemic, like many of you are. And you'll see how she gets through it. Okay, I'm going to Skype my dear buddy, Andy Andrews, right now. I've never actually Skyped anyone in the middle of the show, but I'm getting more and more daring. You know, let's Skype him. Okay, where'd Skype go? Thank you, Lord, for saving. There it is. Hey, 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 hey. Skype, my dear buddy, Andy Andrews. Are you there? There you are.
I'm there.
Hey, Andy Andrews.
Hey, buddy. How are you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored.
I was sitting here listening. Matt had you going through another feed, and I was listening, and I was just sitting here laughing and enjoying it. And then I realized, oh, he's on. Oh, okay. So I'm supposed to act like somebody.
Well, thank you for joining us on Sunday afternoon at 2:09 p.m. Central Time.
Not going to do it again, are you?
Well, I probably won't mess up a good nap. You know, I mean, Sunday afternoons, I'm sure how many we got watching? I bet you, yeah. Yesterday we had over about 2,000. Now we're at 1,740. And I bet you the other 260 are asleep.
There's some nappers. I was looking before you called, and I saw Dr. Barb was on. I don't know that you've met Dr. Barb.
I don't know that I have.
But, well, I'm going to tell you all about her.
So she's in the comments?
Yeah, I saw her, pop in.
Okay.
And so she's watching this. So she is watching you.
Hello, Dr. Barb.
You have an incredibly famous person watching you in Dr. Barb.
Wow.
I mean, this is a woman, you've heard of people who have created. In fact, she was at our house one time, and I told the boys, like I do when you're at our house, the boys do not miss dinner with you, right? I mean, they may go some other places, other dinners, but they're not going to miss Mark, right?
Oh.
And so, but they didn't know who Barb was the first time she came, and I said, no, you want to be at dinner here because you've met a lot of people who have started their own big business and all like this. Barb started an industry.
No.
She created an entire industry. And the story, and we ain't got time for it today, but you might want to have her on the show.
I want to have her on the show.
The story is fascinating.
Really?
But she was this little old, she'll kill me. She's not old. She's younger than you and I are.
Right.
But I always think of her as this sweet little lady, and she was this sweet little single mom and, filing stuff for a big company that got sued, and she and the CEO's headed to prison, and he don't even know what he's done. It's all computer stuff, right? And so she makes a comment at some point to somebody, and they said, "You understand this?" And she goes, "Well, yeah, and so in any case, they get her in the boardroom and say, well, explain it to us. We're the ones getting sued for $150 million and I'm going to prison, apparently. And
Well,
this
she
was
might be
right.
too smart for me to interview. She says like,
Dude, she can make it where we can actually understand
oh,
it.
good.
But she
yeah.
then that's what she did for the CEO and
Yeah.
all like that. And so they took her in with the lawyers because the lawyers didn't understand it either, because
Oh.
it was back when Microsoft had first made their big wash, and you know how somebody would get some software and they're in a cubicle and they would share the software with somebody in that cubicle, and that was going on everywhere and nobody really understood you couldn't do it. And so Microsoft like sued everybody and all these companies, and Barb went in and in one meeting, she said to the Microsoft people, and tell me, is this not a classic line? She said, at some point, these people don't even know what they have done. And so at some point, you're going to need to educate, not litigate. And she got her company, settled it for them.
Wow.
And then she wrote and copyrighted how to take care of a company during this. And so now she's the head of, it's called ITAM, IAITAM, and it's the International Technology something or other. But these are people who now every corporation has several of them to make sure the compliance is done, right? And she is the only educational system for this in the world.
You know what your problem is? You're better at bragging on other people than you are yourself.
Oh,
you are
I love
so good at lifting other people up, just like Barb. I don't know Barb, but she piped in here, evidently is watching, and you have spent the last 5 minutes blessing that lady. I think you're amazing, Andy Andrews.
Well,
but I want to talk about you from right on. I want to know what book have you chosen to read to us? I'm gonna have Barb, if you will let me, I'd love to interview you sometime. I go live every morning, Monday through, I'm gonna do 10 a.m. on Mondays. I think I'm gonna start skipping Sundays and just hope y'all are gonna be all right. I won't check in on what?
I am gonna start. You finally talked me into doing this.
Good.
I'm gonna start doing. It's going to be the Andy Andrews Blue Plate Special.
Okay.
And at 12:15, lunchtime.
When are you starting?
On several days a week. I don't even know when, but several days a week on Facebook Live. I'm going to do that. And when I have a guest, whenever I have enough, I'll probably have 10 people on the first time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when I have a guest for the first time, I want it to be you.
Oh, I'd love to be. And
listen, you're
need
the one
to
that's taught me all this.
Don't just do Facebook now. You want to use Restream.io. You will send your signal to them, and they will send it to as many Facebook and YouTube pages and Twitch and whatever other LinkedIn. I don't do LinkedIn because I already know too many people. And I don't need to know anymore. But
we're going to start it tomorrow. We're going to start it tomorrow.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, tomorrow at 12:15 Central Time.
All right.
I'm not going to have a guest because I want to have you when I know there's actually going to be some people watching.
Okay. So, well, I'll be watching tomorrow at 12:15. Just see what you do. All right. Now, what are you going to do for us?
Well, you said to read something out of one of my books that might help during the pandemic. And one of the things that I thought, I could obviously read from a book that people know, but I thought that I would read from a book that is out of print. This is one of the favorite things that I ever wrote, but it never, got promoted. I don't think anybody really knows I have written it,
really,
so to speak.
What's the name of it?
But this is called Tales from Sawyerton Springs. And it's this town that I supposedly grew up in. And it's stories about what happened while I was growing up. And it's stories about what's happening still there now. And all the people are still there. And so, the story I do about the baseball boys and bad words?
Yes.
About the coach that couldn't say his L's?
Love that.
Okay, well, that is from this book. That
Oh,
story is in this book. And so the book is out of print, but we have, I asked, I called SB and I said, do we have some of those? It's still, and she said, yeah, we got several boxes of them. So if anybody wants them, they can, andyandrews.com, and they can have them for $10.
okay.
Okay. But I thought
Is
I
it
would
on the
read the
website
first.
where they could actually order it there, or how would they do that?
Yeah, andyandrews.com, and they can order it there. It's
Okay,
not on Amazon or anything
perfect.
anyway.
Perfect.
It's out of print, but I've got several
All right,
boxes, and I would.
read us a bedtime story before I go back to
Okay,
finish my nap.
this is the first story in this book, and it's perfect for the time in which we are going through because everybody gets sick in this story.
Oh,
All right.
all
And
right.
the name of the story is Souped Up Town. And so there's the picture that goes with the story. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is okay. Thank you, Mark. I love doing this for people. All right. The flu epidemic that spread through Sawyerton Springs last month is now all but over. So, too, is the quiet gloating of those people who, for whatever reason, were lucky enough to escape the experience. Back in October, vaccinations had been offered free of charge by the county health department. Setting up shop in the fellowship hall of Bowman's Pond United Methodist Church, however, was not an overwhelming success. People stayed away in droves. Most of the Baptists refused to participate in what they saw as just another Methodist gimmick, and the Methodists didn't take advantage of the opportunity because of the nurse. Miss Luna Myers, now in her 83rd year, has been giving flu shots for the county since God was a boy. She looked like she was 100 years old back when she was working for Dr. Payton. Lee Payton, who got all his shots from Miss Luna as a kid and has now taken over his dad's practice, won't go near her. She's so shaky, he says, there'll be 5 holes in your arm before she gets the medicine in. Every hole feels like it was made by a jackhammer. Needless to say, the line for Miss Luna's services last fall was a short one. And that, in a nutshell, seems to be why so many people have been sick. Oddly enough, however, Sawyerton Springs was the only town in the Tri-County area where anyone so much as felt bad. At the Williams house on Keating Road, Billy Pat and Jenny are up and around again after 2 weeks of nausea, headaches, and what Billy Pat calls the Big D. And it's a good thing, too, because Jenny had just about come to the end of her rope where Billy Pat was concerned. Jenny, get me a glass of water. Jenny, get me a blanket. Jenny, let the dog out. For goodness sake, she thought, doesn't he realize I'm sick too? Shut up, Billy Pat. Get your own water. That's what she wanted to say, but she didn't. Jenny felt it was her duty to be the strong one at times like these, so she poured his water and covered him with blankets, all the while feeling like the dog she was constantly letting in and out of the house. Actually, most of the people in town feel like they might not have made it through this flu season if it hadn't been for Rick's Rolling Store. Rick's Rolling Store is really an old school bus from Birmingham that was put out to pasture in 1973. Rick Carper, who drove it for almost 15 years, said that if they were retiring his bus, then they could just, by gosh, retire him too. So Rick bought the bus and painted it red, white, and blue. He took out the seats and bolted shelves and racks all over the inside. After stocking the bus with every imaginable item, Rick and his wife Sue set out for Sawyerton Springs. It was their dream to somehow be of service to their fellow man. And what better way to be of service, Rick said, than to bring groceries to a hungry town? Now, of course, there's Norman's Grosseteria on College Avenue. But when Rick and Sue arrived with their bus 19 years ago, they were the only game in town. They sold soap, salt, pencils, vegetables, macaroni noodles, bolts of material, knives, candy, and even Sue's homemade pepper sauce. When you heard that big bus engine whine to a stop with those loud air brakes, all you had to do was go outside with your laundry basket, fill it with whatever you wanted, and your shopping was done for the week. When Rick's Rolling Store first hit the streets, no one really knew quite what to make of it or why it was there in the first place. There seemed to be an abundance of theories. They came from the city to spy on us was the most popular choice, though no one could think of anything the city might actually want to know. Actually, the reason that Rick and Sue chose Sawyerton Springs as the home base for Rick's Rolling Store was quite simple. First and foremost was the fact that everyone had to drive 20 minutes to a supermarket. But when the sign on the edge of the town went up and they saw it, it clinched the deal. In 1953, when that sign went up, the town council had a tremendous argument about what the town slogan should be. Every town, after all, had to have one. Several of the council members, acknowledging the fact that Dr. Peyton had just opened his office, were pushing for Sawyerton Springs Gateway to Medicine. They were voted down, as was the contingent that wanted Sawyerton Springs speed limit 25. What they settled on was Sawyerton Springs, a town you will like. That's the slogan that welcomed the Carpers years ago, and the same sign is still standing there today. The grand opening of Rick's Rolling Store is not likely to be forgotten. Rick somehow managed to run over 2 dogs and a cat the very first day. By the next week, another dog, another cat, and Bill Ponder's right foot had all fallen victim to the store on wheels. Thank God the man didn't open a Kmart, somebody remarked. He'd have wiped out the town. Before too long, Bill, the animals, and the rest of the population had all gotten used to the town's new addition. As people became acclimated to shopping on a bus, Rick and Sue were gradually accepted and welcomed as friends. Rick was always quick with a joke and was generous with free candy for the kids, while Sue enjoyed talking with the ladies wherever they stopped. Sue's pepper sauce had been such a hit that she frequently offered a monthly special of her homemade jam, bread, or anything else she produced in her spare time. Nowadays, I suppose one could say that time has caught up with Rick's Rolling Store. What with Norman's Grosseteria having a larger selection, people don't seem to be as inclined to buy from Rick and Sue. But they're still part of the town, and you don't forget your own. So, everyone still patronizes the bus occasionally. It's mostly little things like tape or a hairbrush, but people make the effort because they remember when the Carpers made an effort for them. If Rick heard that Mrs. Perkins was looking for a camellia print pattern to make a special dress, he'd make a note of it. Next week, he'd have camellia print patterned bolt of material. Or if Sue found out that the Henleys liked bread and butter pickles, that would be her homemade special of the month. Once, when Miss Luna Myers fell and broke her hip, they carried her, lying in the aisle of Rick's Rolling Store, all the way to the Foley Regional Medical Center, 27 miles. People don't forget a thing like that. When everyone fell ill last month, Rick and Sue were a godsend. Back and forth, all over town, morning, noon, and night. Aspirin to the Rollins, 4 bottles of Pepto-Bismol for Billy, Pat, and Jenny, and the juices for the Ponder children. The homemade chicken soup that Sue made also continued to be a big seller, just as it had been when it first came out, a couple or 3 days before the town got sick. Now, as I mentioned earlier, most families buy their staples at Norman's, and as an unspoken gesture of appreciation, continue to buy and consume whatever Sue's special happens to be that particular month. Near the end of January, Rick's Rolling Store was stocked with Sue's chicken soup. She'd made it with celery and carrots, a few mushrooms, and of course, chicken. On the jars, she had written in black magic marker, salt and pepper to taste. Within a week, well over half the soup was sold. It was obviously a good time of the year for that sort of thing, and despite the fact that it had kind of a strange taste, most people ate what they had purchased and enjoyed it. It was about that time that Lee Peyton began seeing cases of the flu. It got pretty bad. Whole families were coming into his office together. There's really nothing I can do, he told them. Just go back to bed. It'll run its course. One more thing, he added, eat some chicken soup. I hear Rick's Rolling Store has it this month. And so they did. Sawyerton Springs bought every single jar of chicken soup on that bus. Rick managed to put away 2 jars for Sue and himself in case they came down with the bug, but other than that, they were sold out. You know, honey, Rick said as Sue made the list for restocking, this is the best month we've had since Norman opened up his place. I hate to take advantage of a bad situation, but your chicken soup is doing the trick for everybody. And it certainly looked that way. Within 3 or 4 days of the family's last jar, they were up and around. Yes, sir, Bill told Billy Pat over lunch last week. It's a good thing we bought a case of that soup. We kept eating it till we ran out. Wasn't long after. We were okay. Same thing in our house, Billy Pat said. Bill continued, we'd have never even thought about the soup if we hadn't eaten it the night we all got sick. Same thing at our house, Billy Pat said. My girls didn't want to eat it, though. They said it tasted weird. I told them, so what if it does? Eat it all. I said, there's Chinese people that'd love to have it. Bill paused, thinking, heck, that stuff did taste kind of weird. Same thing at our house, Billy Pat said. And they looked at each other. Suddenly, a wave of realization washed over them like the nausea had done a few days before. That soup was bad. No one had the flu. It was food poisoning. As they checked around town, it was pretty much the same story with everybody. The Henleys, the Rollins, the Dees, even Lee Payton's family all got deathly ill eating that chicken soup. The people who didn't eat the soup never got sick. The people who ate the soup got sick, ate more soup, and stayed sick until the soup was gone. I talked on the phone yesterday to several of the people who were affected, and a curious thing has happened. They've just decided not to say anything about it. It's not as if they did it on purpose, Bill said. No real harm was done, Glenda Perkins told me. They're a part of our community, and they were only trying to help. Jenny Williams was concerned about Sue. It would kill her if she thought she had hurt us. So that's Sawyerton Springs. It's no wonder the town doesn't have a lawyer. They don't need one. No one has stopped buying the homemade specials from Rick's Rolling Store. The Carpers need the business. People have, however, stopped eating what they buy. It's not a waste of money. It's not viewed as dishonesty. It's just that Rick and Sue are important, and so are their feelings. But the story doesn't end here. In fact, I believe there is probably a sequel as we sit here reading this. Billy Pat and Bill ran into Rick downtown this morning. How's it going, Ricker? Billy Pat asked. Where's Sue? Oh, she's visiting her sister in Birmingham, Rick replied. So I'm being a bachelor. Want to come for supper? Bill said. Sandy and the kids would love to have you. No, but thanks anyway, Rick said. I'm just going to stay home. Doesn't look like I'm going to catch that flu everybody else got, so I'm just going to eat the last of our chicken soup. I never got any of it. Did you guys enjoy it? Oh, yeah, Bill said. We ate it all. And with a smile on his face, Billy Pat said, same thing at our house.
I love that. So that was one of the first books you wrote?
Yep.
I love that. And if you want to have this book, he's got a few only on Mark Lowry Live. He's got a few boxes just for you that have watched today. You can go to andyandrews.com, and for $10, you can have that very book.
Yep. There's the next story, the baseball story.
Oh, I love that story.
There's 27 stories in this book. Every one of them, about those people and about that town. And
it's great. So, I love it. It'd be a good one to keep in the restroom. It's about one story per sitting, isn't it?
It probably is. Socks for Christmas came out of this book, too.
What did?
That Socks book, yeah.
Oh, wow. How many books
Mark, I sure love you. You have done such great stuff for all of us during all this.
Here you go again.
Somebody gave us all chicken soup, gave the world chicken soup, but you have truly provided chicken soup for our souls during this time.
Well, listen, getting to do this, you're going to find out, Andy, you probably already know this. The more you do this, it gets easier. I mean, it has for me. And I'm
looking forward to it.
I look forward to it.
You have talked to me about this and are having so much fun. And I
love connecting through that camera. Right through that camera right there. I connect to thousands of people and don't have to leave my bedroom. And I even made the bed, but I am still using the green screen. I love the green screen.
Hey, I can't see you right now. Are you pulling it down?
Yeah, I did.
Pull it, because I want Matt to see you pull that thing.
Okay. Well, you can't see me do this?
I can't.
I thought you could see me. Okay, look, where's Matt?
He's watching.
Okay.
Is
See?
that great?
It's
I saw
it's
you
like
do that the other day. I was watching your show, and I saw you pull that down. I mean, the waves are going and everything, and Mark pulls the thing down. So it
an
looked
unmade
great.
bed. How are your boys?
Yeah, they are doing great. And they were both kind of like, because today, Sunday afternoon, and we didn't go to virtual church today because it was raining, and
What
so
does that have to do
we
with
figured if we
anything?
use that excuse, when we're going, we should also be able to use it if it's virtual.
Right.
So, um, but they said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going down to the studio. We've got a little studio here called the Wisdom Harbor Studios here in Orange Beach at the wharf
And
now."
it's your studio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I said, I'm going down there. They said, why are you going down there today? Is Matt coming in? I said, yeah. I said, Mark called last night and asked would I read a story, and they said, so you're going to be on with Mark? And I was like, yeah. They're just like, today? I'm like, yeah. It's like they're going to miss. And I'm like, you can watch, but they're probably
Well,
not going to
if
watch
they
the
are
Matt, but they
watching,
would watch Mark.
which one of them makes the knives?
That's Austin.
Austin, I want to tell you, you are one. If you're watching, you're a talented. I follow you on Instagram, and if you want a beautiful handmade knife by Andy Andrews' son, how would they find him? Do you know how they'd find him on Instagram?
That's AustinLegacyKnives.com.
Oh yeah.
AustinLegacyKnives.com. And Mother's Day's coming up. And
Every mama needs a knife.
man, he makes kitchen knives, and they're all marked one of one because they're all, they're handmade. And man, they're beautiful. You're right. They're all
LegacyKnives.com.
LegacyKnives.com.
You will, if you love beautiful knives, you will. And he's you've raised such good kids.
Well, they love you. And one of the things Polly and I have done that we were very purposeful about was making sure that they were around great people growing up. And so, you are a standard bearer for them. You're like an Uncle Mark to them. And so, I really believe, obviously some of our friends, people know who they are. And so everybody doesn't have like a famous Uncle Mark that they can get them around. But we've all got people in our lives that we say, man, if my kids could grow up to have the thought process and the manners and the kindness of Mark Lowry.
Oh Lord, now don't put me on a pedestal.
It would be a great thing. And so to be able to get them around people like you and Wes and
if we're gonna brag on people, let's brag on Wes.
Yeah.
He's the most perfect human. He and Janet Paschal. There's some people I wonder, what is the sin that easily besets them? Janet Paschal's perfect. Wes Hampton is perfect.
Yeah, Wes is kind of perfect. It's kind of sickening, isn't it?
There's a couple more I've met in my life.
Nancy Lopez is perfect.
I don't know her.
Yeah, you do. She's the most famous woman golfer of all time.
I don't follow golf.
Yeah, but you don't have to follow golf to know who Nancy Lopez is.
Oh, really?
Watch your comments. People are going, seriously? You don't know?
Well,
that's
you know
like
what? I
telling
also
somebody
didn't
you
know.
don't know who
the other
Kenny
day,
Rogers is.
The other day,
what?
I didn't know the lady. I showed the video of Tony Evans' daughter, Priscilla Shirer. Have you heard of her?
Mm-mm.
Okay, unbelievable speaker. Let me just tell you.
Really?
She is amazing. She's like T.D. Jakes kind of amazing in her in her oratory. So I was watching that special with I think it was maybe Easter with T.D. Jakes and Chris Tomlin. Is that his name? Chris Tomlin.
Right, yeah.
And then I'm watching that. And then after TD speaks, he hands it to this woman. I didn't know her. I just didn't. And she was blowing my mind. And then at the very end, she says, so we can, I wish I had, if I could find it, I'll just show it to you. Because it is worth seeing again, let me tell you. Called Built in Glory. I can't even begin to tell you, where is it? I had to call them and say, you are an ancient what'd she call them? As the ancient hymn writers wrote, because he lives, I can face tomorrow. And I
As the ancient hymn writers.
ancient hymn writers.
Oh my
Well, they
God.
kind of are, but
I mean, to think it is kind of a paradox or something that they have stuff in the hymnal and they're still alive.
Oh yeah, well I can't say. Mary, did you know is in the hymnal too, so I can't talk. But that's just
Are you
one.
serious?
But because he lives, oh my gosh, that is such an amazing song. It is the Easter classic standard song. I guess I didn't save that. Well, shoot.
That kind of took over the Easter, because when I was growing up, the Easter classic was Up from the Grave He Arose.
Right.
Remember?
Yes.
And that was one that would start off, remember, it started off like a guy, Sean Dietrich, a writer, said it started off like a funeral dirge.
In the grave he lay, Jesus my Savior.
But then you get to the fast part.
Up from the grave he arose.
He arose.
With a mighty triumph.
That was like my time of the year because I was a preacher's kid, right? And so I could get my friends laughing harder on that song every year. There was a period of time there from when I was about 9 to about 14 that I killed every Easter with that song. And then when my boys got to be about 7 years old, I started using it on them because what I would do is when everybody sings Up from the Grave He Arose, I would lean over and just loud enough for my friends or my boys here, I would add the next line, with a mighty booger in his nose. No. And if you're 10 or 11 years old, that'll lay you out.
Oh, I know it. If you're 10 or 11, it will. And he must have had a booger in his nose at some point. That's what I love about Jesus. He humbled himself, and he had to go to the bathroom. He got.
When I left the house.
I wonder if he ever got sick. I don't know about that. Maybe.
I don't know.
I wonder.
When I left the house a few minutes ago, and Polly and the boys were saying, tell Mark, hey, tell Mark, hey, tell Mark, hey. Polly was about to watch that show, The Chosen, about Jesus. And it's a television show, evidently, about Jesus. And the words came up on the screen, and I just see him as I'm leaving, and we both comment. Because it's like, this is the story of Jesus of Nazareth, and this. And then the third line was, there is dialogue added and people added to this story for the narrative thing. And I said to Polly, that third line is going to turn some people. Some people are going to be very angry about that third line. I said, because, Jesus never said anything that wasn't in the Bible. Everything he said, it's not that he said the stuff in the Bible, actually said it. It's that's all he said. Jesus never said pass the salt.
Oh.
He never said, gosh, where is a bathroom around this place? Yeah. I mean, yeah. And so, but it's very funny.
Of course, he's kidding, right? Please, y'all don't think he's not kidding.
Right, I am kidding.
There's many things Jesus did that weren't. He went to the bathroom. I mean, just think about that. God,
and think of the things. It is curious, isn't it, to think of the things that are probably left out that Jesus did say that nobody thought was important enough to put in there, and yet it's important to know that he was human. Like one part I know, there's something that I know he said that never made it to the Bible, and that was at the Last Supper when Jesus said, everybody who wants to be in the picture needs to sit on this side of the table. Never made it to the Bible.
That probably didn't. Anybody wants to be in the picture, sit on this side of the table. Andy Andrews, you're an idiot. Well, listen, I love you. You're a smart idiot. And y'all, if you want to get that book now that he read from today, thank you for doing story time. You're welcome to do story time anytime.
I love reading to people, actually. So thank you for the opportunity.
Now, you've done your books on tape, right?
Yeah. I do the narration. I do the narration on them.
Oh yeah. If you want him to read to you every night, go to Audible.
Yep.
That's where I get mine.
Yep.
And
Me too.
I love books on tape, don't you?
I do. I do. I usually have a regular book going and I have an Audible book going all the time. And people say, "Well, I don't have time to listen." I'm like, "How do you not have time to listen?" I live in a town with 4,000 people, and I, the grocery store is just like right there. But I listen going to the grocery store. I listen if I'm ironing a shirt or something. I listen to Audible.
Oh
You know,
my.
I'm so.
Well, listen, so tomorrow at 12:15
Yep.
Central Time, tune in to Andy Andrews' Facebook page, I presume.
Yep.
All right.
Facebook page.
And I thank you for being with us. Now we're going to have, Miss Lily Knowles.
Man, I can't believe you're getting to talk to her.
Oh,
Or you already did, right? You
yeah,
taped it?
she texted me yesterday. She said, "I've been watching you in the mornings and I want to be on there." So I said, "Well, let's do it." I said, "Do you have Skype?" No, she'd never heard of Skype, but she figured it out. At 82 years of age, she figured Skype out and we Skyped. And here is my
Wow.
interview with that sweet Lily Knowles. I am here today with a legend in the homecoming world, Miss Lily Knowles. How are you, Lily?
I'm blessed. Thank you, Mark. This is such a great opportunity for us to get together.
Well, I love it. But, she contacted me just yesterday and said, "I see you're going live and I want to," and I thought, what a wonderful idea. Sweet Lily. Can you believe this darling right here? You must not be very shy about your age because you put it in the text to me.
In 12 days,
How?
April 30.
April 13th? Oh, April
30.
30. April 30, you'll be
2.
82. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Now, I met you at the Gaither Homecomings when, I think that's when we first met, wasn't it?
No, it would have been Praise Gathering way back.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Way back.
Way back. Weren't those good days?
Oh, they were absolutely phenomenal. I just loved them.
Yes.
Great.
What did you love most about Praise Gathering?
I think that people just came because they wanted to be a part of something that was happening and sing the old beautiful songs. Maybe at that time it wasn't as it is today that you cannot hear them in your own church, but they could hear them there and get to meet and be up close and personal with the artists.
Right, right. Well, now are you still traveling and singing?
I am, as often as people ask me. I drive a lot and I fly a lot and I still do all kinds of, of course, now that I are one, I do lots of seniors functions.
Right.
And ladies luncheons and things because of my hats. I have like hat luncheons where everybody wears hats and it's a lot of fun.
You do wear a lot of hats, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of your look.
Well, I'm known as the hat lady everywhere. So
Well, that's
okay.
better than the cat lady.
Oh, yes.
Well, listen. So, sing. We're going through a pandemic, and you're at the age that's vulnerable. I was concerned about my dad. He's 88. And so I'm concerned, about his health. And of course, I'm hunkering down,
Yes.
like everybody is, and everybody should be.
Yes.
So why don't you sing through it all? I get a lot of requests for that song, and I think you can sing it as good as anyone. I love to hear you sing, and would you sing that for us?
Thank you. I will. Doesn't matter what we're facing, does it, Mark?
No.
The Lord says, I have all these promises for you. All you have to do is believe them. And if you do, I'll take you through it all. We're having lots of tears and sorrow. We have questions for tomorrow. Whoa, many times right now. We don't know right from wrong. But in this C-virus situation, God will give us blessed consolation. He says these trials come to make you strong. Whoa, I've been to 57 countries in the world. I've been to lots of places. And I've seen a lot of faces. Oh, but there've been times when I felt so all alone, like you. But in those lonely hours, those precious lonely hours, we can hear Jesus say, come to me, you are my very own. Oh, you know it. Sing it with everybody. Say, through it all, yeah. Through it all.
Sing.
Let's learn to trust in Jesus. Let's learn to trust. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. Through it all, through it all, through it all. Yes, we can learn to depend upon His word. His word is settled in heaven, cannot change, will not change. And I ask you, can you thank God for the mountains in your life? Can you thank Him for this isolation? Can you thank Him for every storm that He's brought you through? You know why? Because if we never had a problem, how would we know that He could solve them? We'd never know what faith in His word could do. Everybody help me say one more time, say, through it all. Through this C-virus epidemic, we've learned to trust in Jesus. We've learned He's always by our side. Through it all, whatever you're facing today, through it all, yes, let's learn to depend upon His word. He said He'll never leave us. Let's learn to depend up. He says, cast all those cares upon me. Let's learn to depend upon His word. Woo! Psalms 119:89 says, His word is settled in heaven, cannot change, will not change, because it's His word.
Wow, Lily Knowles, everybody. Lily Knowles, the renowned Lily Knowles.
Hallelujah. Thank you,
Isn't the
Jesus.
truth? Now, Lily, there are a lot of people watching right now who are also like you, totally alone. Now, you've never been married. You're like me. You're living alone. I have a harem that takes care of me, feeds me.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, I've got 4 dear friends that are helping me out and cooking for me and all. But now, are you taking good care of yourself? Or are you totally alone?
Well, I live 3 years ago. I moved to a senior retirement center, and it's wonderful. There are 50 of us in our own apartments. You have to be ambulatory to live here, and so we don't have any crafts, no bingo, no bunco, no close association. We have to stay 6 feet apart. But every day we get our lunch brought to us. It's placed at the door, and we open it up and then eat. But I'm pretty much in. I do go out once a week to the store. Right. And then, you know what I do? I go up, way up on a hill where I can overlook the city, take my iPad, and I just play my tracks because I want to keep my voice strong during this time. And I sing to the top of my lungs, just like I'm in a concert. And I think I bless God and I bless me.
Well, sure. You know, I've been doing that every day at 10 a.m., checking in on all the people that follow me on Facebook and YouTube. And and I love it. I go live to all those different places, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all at the same time, and I'm checking in on everybody. And we sing. Now, I can't play the piano. I don't use tracks because they'll, I don't know, they'll shut you down because all the copyright stuff. But you can sing a cappella, the old hymns that are public domain,
yes.
and just sing them. And I've been doing that, and it's blessed me. And the people say it blesses them, and I hope it does. But if it
Blesses
doesn't, they can
God.
always just click it off.
That's right. They're nothing like those old songs that are there to give us assurance and deliverance and all the things that we need.
Well, let me tell you guys watching me, if you are in California, and you live in what part of California? Are you in?
Upland by the Ontario airport.
Okay. If you want to have a blessing at your church, you need to book Lily Knowles at misslily.com. She will come to your church, and she'll, once this corona thing lifts, of course. Of course, you could book her now, and she'd be the only one there.
I tell you what I am going to do next week. The office contacted me. We have 3 courtyards where our apartments are. So I'm going to go to all 3, set up my little equipment, and just sing. They can come to the door and clap their hands if they want. But I just wanted to be a blessing if I could.
How wonderful. Lily, your smile is a blessing. That's one of your greatest gifts. I told Guy Penrod one day, I said, listen, your blessing is your curse, because your eyes, when you're singing and you're looking into that camera, your eyes are a gift. But when you're talking to your children, you better be careful, because those eyes can cut like a knife, especially if it's one of you. But your smile, I love your smile, and I love your spirit, and I've loved you for, I guess, 30 years now.
Yeah, at least.
At least, huh?
Herming was what, in the 77, 76 era?
Now, I didn't join the Gaither world until 1988. That was my first time at Praise Gathering. So it had to have been.
I was still there, so I would have
you
met
were
you
still
then.
there, and I'd see you, and then you started coming to all the homecoming tapings, and
what a blessing they have been. I get emails, as I'm sure you do also, from all over the world. Those tapes are everywhere, and they're a blessing.
They are. Well, I love you, Lily. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. Can we tell the funny story about the dove?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry. Yes.
Here's the only dove that I've ever received, and I'm grateful for the Best Traditional CD, 2008.
Yeah.
I'm in the audience knowing I'm not going to win. It's just no way. And they were presenting a dove to a group, a quartet or something, and they had the wrong envelope. We've seen that happen recently too. And they said the winner is Mark Lowry. So you were able to sit there through the rest of the program knowing that you had already won. How'd that feel?
Because they had the wrong envelope. Great. Well, listen, I love you, hon.
All right.
And I want to, you just stay right there. I'm going to finish recording, but I want to talk to you just a little bit more. I love you. And that sweet Lily Knowles, what an angel she is. Okay, y'all, my sister, I've been reading the comments while she was talking. And my sister, I told, when did we start this? 55 minutes ago. My sister yesterday, my dad called me in the middle of broadcasting to you guys, if you were watching, and he said, the ambulance just came and got your sister. And so I asked all 2,000 of you that were watching at that time to start praying for her. Well, she's in the hospital still. She'll be there a couple of more days. She had a UTI infection. She does not have the coronavirus. So we're very grateful, but it doesn't mean, the good news is the coronavirus is not the end of the world for most people. You will recover. And I saw on the CNN last night, the Cuomo guy who had it, he and his wife has it now. He says that the main thing to do is when you get it to stretch and keep breathing and get up and move and breathe deep, because the virus wants you to lay down and just, let it do its job on you. But you got to get up and Breathe as deep as you can. And then you can sing, it will be worth it all when we see Jesus. Life's trials will seem so small when we see Christ. One glimpse of his dear face. Can you imagine that? All sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ. I got that too high. Hey, so tomorrow, 10 a.m. Now listen, if you want to buy Andy's book, go to andyandrews.com and get that book for $10. And I love it because they're all homey stories, you know. They're just kind of, I love that kind of thing. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today. I hope you're staying safe. Wash your hands. I'm talking to me because I kind of forget to do that too. Wash your hands, stay indoors, and don't get up till we tell you. See you tomorrow.